What would you do if you lost everything? Not just money. Not just your job. But your family, your health, your future, all at once. No warning. No explanation. Would you still trust God? Or would something inside you begin to break? Because there was a man who faced that exact moment. A man who had everything, and then lost it all. But this story is not just about suffering. It goes deeper than that. His name was Job. The Bible describes him in a simple but powerful way. He was blameless, upright, a man who feared God and avoided evil. This was not a careless man. Job lived right. He honored God. He made wise choices. And because of that, his life was full. He had a large family, 7 sons and 3 daughters. He had great wealth, servants, and land. He was respected and known as the greatest man in the East. Everything looked stable. Everything made sense. Until something unseen began to happen. A conversation in heaven. The Bible says that one day, heavenly beings came before God, and Satan was among them. God pointed to Job and said, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him." But Satan replied, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Take away everything he has, and he will curse you." The real question was not about Job's wealth. It was about his heart. Was Job faithful because he loved God, or because life was good? Then everything began to fall apart. Fast. One messenger came, his oxen were stolen and servants killed. Another came, fire destroyed the sheep. Another, camels taken. And then the worst news, his children were gone, killed when a house collapsed. In one day, Job lost everything. And what did he do? He fell to the ground and worshipped. He said, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." That response is not normal. That is something deeper. But the test was not over. Satan said, "Strike his body, and he will curse you." So Job was covered in painful sores from head to toe. He sat in ashes, scraping his skin. The man who once lived in honor now sat in suffering. Even his wife said, "Curse God and die." But Job replied, "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Then came the hardest part, not the loss, not the pain, but the questions. His friends came and began to accuse him. They said he must have sinned. They insisted his suffering was his fault. But Job knew he had done nothing to deserve this. And now confusion grew. If he didn't do wrong, then why was this happening? Job began to cry out. He asked, "Why was I born? Why is this happening? God, where are you?" This is where it gets deeper. Job was not losing faith. He was reaching for God in the dark. But God was silent. No answer. No explanation. Just silence. Then, after all the pain and questions, God finally spoke. Not softly, but with power, out of a storm. He asked Job, "Where were you when I created the earth? Can you command the morning? Do you understand the stars?" Question after question, not to shame Job, but to show him something bigger, that God's wisdom is beyond human understanding, and suddenly, Job understood. Not everything, but enough. He realized God was always in control. Even when it didn't feel like it. He said, "Surely I spoke of things I did not understand." That is humility. That is surrender. Then God restored Job. He gave him twice as much as before. But the real restoration was not the wealth. It was the relationship. Job said, "Before, I had only heard of you. Now I have seen you." That is the deepest part of the story. So what does this teach us? Sometimes life will not make sense. Sometimes there will be no clear reason, no explanation. Faith is not about understanding everything. It is about trusting God even when you don't. Job never knew the full reason behind his suffering. But he learned something greater than answers. he learned trust. And here is the truth, you can lose everything and still not lose God. Pain may shake you. Questions may surround you. Silence may confuse you. But God is still there. So when life gets hard, remember Job, not just the man who suffered, but the man who went deeper. Because sometimes the deepest faith is built in the darkest moments.